What is going on, Crimson City? My name is Crimson CBAD, and in today's video, guys, we're going to be breaking down our Week 3 matchup against Cooper Koshiro and the Utah Jasmine. Definitely go check out Cooper's channel in the description so you can check out their side of the matchup. It was a great battle. This is a divisional match, so if we can keep the differential as low as possible, either in the case of a loss or if we can take this win by an absolute landslide, this will boost us further in our division ratings, hopefully getting us a chance later on in the season to reach the wild card slot. And if you guys missed the team builder yesterday, check it out. The link will be in the description of the video as well, so you can see what I'm bringing and why I'm bringing. You guys can see I have the Tornadus, I have Slowbro, Cobalion, Serena, Curum, and Crocodile. So Cooper's bringing the Breloom, one of the worst things I feel like dealing with in League format. The Manaphy, the Zapdos, Scrafty, Swellow, and Klefki. So right out the gate, one of the things that we need to be aware of is what type of Breloom set it is. If it's more offensive, if it's more passive with Subtoxic Heal. We need to scout and see if the Zapdos has pressure. If it has pressure, that means he has a Defogger. If it's not pressure, if it's static, that means he does not have a Defogger, because I highly doubt Cooper would bring a Defog Swellow. We need to determine what type of set the Scrafty is, if it's an Intimidate set, if it's a Moxie set, or if it's a possible setup Shed Skin set. Physical or special Swellow as well. And then as far as a specially defensive or a defensive Klefki, part of me wants to go into this match thinking that it is more a specially defensive, bulky, offensive Scrafty and a defensive Klefki, but we'll see. Looking at Cooper's team, I said in the team builder, Cooper has been known to be kind of unpredictable when it comes to team building and play style, so the only thing we can predict for is what we know is like a safe bet. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. Looking at his team, though, if he is static Zapdos, Rocks absolutely hinder his team. Zapdos is going to be taking 25% on switch-in. Swellow is going to be taking 25% on switch-in. We need to figure that out. So I figured if I wanted to lead with Rocks, he would lead with Breloom. So in order to counter that lead, I led with Tornadus because we can pop this thing straight open with a Hurricane. He leads off with Breloom. Good prediction on Cooper's part, but like I said, I did want to kind of keep that offensive pressure going. He's going to withdraw into Zapdos. Absolutely fine by me. It is a Cherish Ball. We do not see the pressure pop, so he is static, so he does not have Defog on the Zapdos. Hurricane's going to be doing about 20-ish% to the Zapdos, which is some good information to know. We can kind of scout his build a little bit. He does have leftover, so he's not choiced in any fashion, so that's good news for us. Choice by Zapdos after a few KOs on our team, just kind of run shop. I'm going to switch into Crocodilius here, just in case he does want to go for the Volt Switch. If he's carrying the U-turn, great prep on Cooper's part. He goes for the U-turn right here. Good play. Very good play. It's going to do a tremendous amount of damage to the Crocodile, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is, and he's going to go out into the Breloom. And we do have a counter for our Breloom, provided he is not running some sort of odd special set on his Breloom. So I'm going to hard switch out of Crocodilius. I don't want to take a Bullet Seed, don't want to take a Mach Punch. I'm going to go straight out into Serena here. Serena nerfs the Mach Punch. Serena can take Bullet Seeds. Serena can take Rock Tomb. Serena can take pretty much everything that this Breloom wants to do for us. Like I said, unless he's running some odd special attack investment with Sludge Bomb or whatever. So, gonna go back out on the Zapdos here. I'm gonna go for the U-turn here. Fingers crossed that we do not get paralyzed this early on in the match. And we do not get paralyzed, which is good news for us. So we are able to keep the momentum in our way. I'm gonna go out into the Super War line here. We can fire off a huge Stone Edge into the Zapdos slot. We can Volt Switch if we predict that he's going to go for a switch. We can even get up our Rocks early on in the match. So all this news is good for us. I'm going to stay in and I'm going to go for the Stealth Rocks. I didn't think he wanted to risk a Stone Edge. Maybe he was baiting on the miss. Maybe with his spread he could have lived a Stone Edge. Goes for the Heat Wave. And I'm like, please, 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 please don't burn me. Please don't burn me. So gets huge damage off into our Cobalion, which is kind of unfortunate, but at the same time we did get our Rocks up. And like I said, unless he's bringing that Defog Swellow, he's not going to be able to do anything to us now. So he's going to be taking 25% every single time. I'm going to go out into Nico main here in case he decides to fire off another Heat Wave. Absolutely fine by me. We're going to be able to shrug that damage off. If he gets the burn on the Heat Wave, that's going to be a little unfortunate, but thankfully he does not. Leftovers recovery still coming off onto the Zapdos, so we've seen U-turn and we've seen Heat Wave. I don't know what his other two moves are. I'm imagining he would have some sort of stab move and then potentially even HP Ice for the Crocodile, but we have seen that he has a little bit of a mix set with the U-turning. Goes for the Thunderbolt on the Crocodile switch-in. Absolutely fine play. He's playing very safe right now, so I kind of want to take these safe plays and think about them in the best way possible. He's going to go out into the Split Mushroom here. And this thing is going to be able to, it's going to take the Rocks damage. It's going to definitely fear us out. But you know what? I was like, I want to get a huge hit of damage off on something right now. If it's the Breloom, So be it. We're going to fire off our Z move right here, surrounding ourselves with our brilliant, glorious Z power. And we're going to fire off a Black Hole Eclipse into the Breloom slot. I love this animation. I love how all the Z move animations look. They're absolutely fantastic. I think something like this is definitely keeps the mons interesting. Does about 50% give or take after rocks damage, which is unfortunate. I was hoping for a little bit more of a damage off on the Breloom, but that's fine. We can go back out into our Serena here. We can take the Mach Punch. We can take the Bullet Seed. We can take all this fun stuff from this thing. Awesome. So Breloom can't really do too much to us. He's going to withdraw. He does not want to take a play rough. He does not want to take a high jump kick. He does not want to take a trot kick. Brings back out the Zapdos again, taking 25% to rocks. Absolutely fine by me. I'm just going to keep going with the U-turn. I'm going to go with the slow U-turns with Serena. Try to keep this switch momentum in my favor. Unfortunately, the Zapdos' static comes off, and now our Serena is paralyzed. So, our speed is halved, which is fine because we don't need to worry about speed. Serena's a slow U-turn out. We can go into Kyurem now. Kyurem is choice specs. I'm trying to remember. What do we outspeed? Peep the Team Builder. I can drop Dracos. I can go for Ice Beam. 50-50 draw right here. I could have he switches out right now, predicting the Scarf. So, goes on to Klefki here, which is really unfortunate because I was debating going for an Ice Beam or an Earth Power on the switch, but I was like, you know what? If he stays in, thinks he's faster, I can eat a Thunderbolt or a Heat Wave. Go for the Draco Meteor. Go for the Draco. He knows I'm locked in now against this Klefki. I'm going to switch back out into Cosmo Queen because the Prankster T-Wave obviously doesn't affect us anymore because we are paralyzed, but he starts setting up screens. Okay. So now that we know that he screens Klefki, this is going to make this battle just a little bit that much more difficult to deal with. Gets up both of his screens, and I'm like, alright, great, awesome, cool. What are we going to do? Let's just U-turn out. Let's U-turn out into Crocodile, get a huge hit off. We get fully paralyzed, and I'm like, awesome, great, sweet. So, switched out of his Klefki, goes on to Zapdos. Zapdos handles the Serena very, very well, obviously. Immune to, or resist the stab, I should say. Wanted to go for the U-turn to get momentum, and we get fully paralyzed 2 turns in a row. I'm like, are you kidding me? But it's the game we play. I've accepted this. I don't get salty about hacks anymore. Fully paralyzed 2 turns in a row. He's going to Roost right here. It's a very safe play. So now we've seen all 4 of his movesets. We've seen Heat Wave, U-turn, Thunderbolt, and Roost. So, very good prep on Cooper's part as far as this goes. A more bulky offensive Zapdos with Roost for the recovery. U-turn so that way he's not stuck in on anything, going for a Volt Switch if he were to try to hit the Crocodile. Because outside of that, I mean, Heat Wave is okay, but he doesn't really hit the Crocodile. So, I'm going to U-turn here into the Kyurem. We can fire off a Choice Specs Ice Beam. We can also kind of gauge the damage that Klefki is at. He's sitting behind light screens right now, so he can feel very safe to fire off a huge thing. I figured he might switch into Klefki. I go for Earth Power. He goes for, I missed the Earth Power, obviously, on the Zapdos. He goes for a Heat Wave. He misses the Heat Wave. So I'm like, okay, we need to figure out, we need to play better. So the Heat Wave miss was fortunate for us, but the 2 times paralyzed. So if we're keeping a hacks counter, that's 2-1 right now. He's going to stay and go for a second Heat Wave, and he misses that. I don't feel like that Heat Wave was very crucial at all on the Slowbro. I know we can take a Thunderbolt from Zapdos from full because I know he's a little bit more mixed investment as far as like a 252 modest special attacks that goes. We're going to be able to get a Toxic off from the Zapdos, put it on a timer. Didn't bring the Comfy, so he does not have any sort of Cleric on his team, which is very, very good. And like I said, we've seen his full spread, the U-turn, the Thunderbolt, the Heat Wave, and the Roost. So we can't do too much. I'm going to switch out to Crocodilius here. I know I can eat another U-turn. I know if he goes for Thunderbolt, I do get a free switch in. Cooper makes the excellent switch, or prediction, and goes for the U-turn on the Crocodilius. If he would have stayed in with the Slowbro, that would have been awesome because he would have gotten Rocky Helmet damage as well as the damage coming back in on Rocks the next turn. So, goes into Swallow, takes 25% to Rocks. I'm imagining he's an odd amount of HP. Light Screen wears off, very crucial to keep in mind right now because we're going to switch out of our Crocodilius. I'm going to go back out into Slowbro here. It's not doing too much this match. Slowbro was more of a Darmanitan check and he didn't bring it. Goes for the Boom Burst. So, we know he's some form of Specs Scrappy set on the Swallow. Nico Main goes down, unfortunately. The Reflect wore off. Both screens were off. I can go into Super War Line right here. I have a 25% chance to OHKO this thing after Rocks with the Volt Switch. I have a 100% chance to knock it out with Close Combat. I go for the Volt Switch because I'm like, yeah, Swallow's not going to live. Why not? Oh, we get low rolled on the Volt Switch. So, Swallow lives with like 3 HP, unfortunately. And then I'm like, all right, what's our next sack? Cosmo Queen might be able to take a hit. He might go for a U-turn or something if he's not choiced. Goes for the Boom Burst. Swallow actually being a huge problem for me right now. Cosmo Queen actually eats the Boom Burst, which is good to know. We get our leftovers recovery back. There's no reason why he won't stay in and just keep clicking Boombers. So Swellow already picking up 2 KOs rather early in the game, I feel like. Putting us to a 6-4 disadvantage. So I know Cobalion can take the hit, or I know Cobalion's going to outspeed. We're Scarf to outspeed Scarf Zapdos. If he Scarf Swellow, I have no more switch-ins. GG. But he is Spec Swellow. We are going to be able to outspeed, go for that Volt Switch. We already saw we were faster and went for the first Volt Switch. So I apologize for the misinformation there of not knowing. But we knew we were faster than the Swellow. Go for the Volt Switch, being able to knock it out. Cobalion picking up another kill this week. I'm going to go on to Tornadus. I outspeed the rest of his team. We know that his Zapdos isn't Scarfed. We know that the Manaphy... We don't know what the Manaphy is, but I don't think he would bring in Manaphy on this thing because we can taunt it. He takes 25% to rocks on the Zapdos. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to take a Thunderbolt. I'm going to switch out of this. I'm going to go on a Crocodilius here. I'm what I anticipate to be a Thunderbolt. He can go for a Roost, though, as well, which is absolutely fine, which is what he does. We could have stayed in, went for a Heat Wave. We could have stayed in and gone for a Hurricane just for huge damage, possibly get a Confusion, but I didn't want to risk the Thunderbolt. Tornadus is still very useful to us late game. If we can keep this Zapdos in for a little bit longer, the poison damage is going to rack up, which kind of puts him on a timer. Come to find out, my Crocodilius is faster than the Zapdos. So, I went for the EQ there, predicting him to Roost. He does not. I went in there also predicting a switch, going for the EQ. He does not. So, a couple bad predictions on my part. It's fine. He brings in Klefki. Now, Prankster moves against Dark types. There was a nerf in this generation, so he is going to be able to set up the Reflect early on. But he can't go for like a Toxic. He can't go for anything like that as far as affecting me. I'm going to go for the Earthquake. Behind the Reflect, we are able to 2-hit KO Klefki after Leftovers recovery. If he is, I'm assuming he's Light Clay at this point. I haven't been paying too much attention to an item. He is Light Clay. He's going to be able to set up his screens one last time, and I'm like, all right, let's just Earthquake this thing. Let's get it gone. Once these screens are out of our way, we can be done dealing with this. So, Crocodilius here, able to pick up the KO on Klefki. So now, even 4-4 matchup, we do have our Crocodilius is taking a little bit more damage, but his Zapdos is also on a timer, and he also does have rocks on his side of the field, being able to pressure 25% on Zapdos every time it comes in. So, he goes into the Manaphy here. I'm like, alright, great, awesome. Crocodilius really can't do too much more. We can't go for a switch in. I'm going to taunt here in case he wants to go for the Tail Glow. I could have went for an EQ for the damage, but he goes for the very safe play, goes for the Surf, but now I know this thing isn't going to be able to set up a Calm Mind. It's not going to be able to set up a Tail Glow. It's not going to be able to do anything like that. The only unfortunate part is now we have a very bulky Manaphy behind 2 sets of screens, and I'm like, alright, what's our only Wall Buster that we have? We have our Choice Specs Kyurem here. And as I'm going to go run the calc, I'm like, I can 2-hit KO this thing behind the screens with the specs. I can also drop a Draco. If I get a critical hit, I can knock this thing out. That's a huge threat out of the way. And wouldn't you know it, the Draco Meteor is going to come through. We're going to OHKO the Klefki. It is a critical hit. And I'm like, okay. So, a little bit of hacks on both sides of the battle so far. Nothing too crazy. Goes out into his Scrafty here. And I don't want Scrafty going for a Drain Punch on me. I don't want Scrafty going for an Iron Head. I don't want him to knock off my specs either. So I'm going to bring back that Blue Eyes, because now that his Fairy's gone, we can just drop Dracos once these screens are gone. So I'm going to go on to Tornadus. I don't think he'd go for the Ice Punch straight out the gate. If he does, he's a Lord. He goes for the Drain Punch here. It's going to do a little bit of damage to Tornadus. Nothing too crazy. Very safe play on Cooper's part, not going for the knockoff there, because even behind screens, a -2 Draco Meteor from a Choice Specs Kyurem would have been crazy. He's going to withdraw his Scrafty. He doesn't want to keep that in. It goes into the Zapdos. And I'm like, okay, Zapdos, again, still on a timer. Still got the rocks on the field, being able to pressure that thing. I want to set up the Tailwind now for Kyurem to come in and just start firing off Ice Beam. So, I knew I could take an Ice Punch from the Scrafty, depending on his sets. We didn't see Life Orb damage from the Drain Punch, so I was like, alright, I can live an Ice Punch from this thing. Let's go on ahead and let's set up our Tailwind. Even if we do go down for whatever a high roll, if he gets like a critical hit knockoff, if knockoff were to kill us in that situation, let's get the Tailwind in, because I know Blue Eyes White Dragon can take the Thunderbolt or the Heat Wave from the Zapdos. He's got Zapdos left, he's got Breloom, he's got Scrafty, he's got 3 left. Yep, he's got those 3, because we took out the Manaphy, the Klefki, and the Swellow. So, he's going to U-turn out into the Scrafty, and I'm like, alright, it is time. He took the rocks damage on the Scrafty, absolutely fine by me. I can start dropping Dracos on this thing. And this part actually took me for a surprise. Scrafty has incredible special defensive bulk, and when you pair it with something like an Assault Vest, you can see that's a Choice Specs modest Draco Meteor from a Kyurem. Absolutely just destroys me. So, I'm going to go for the Iron Head. It does not kill me, and I'm like, alright. It is time. I forgot the light screens were still in effect here at this point. I could have switched out. I didn't want this thing getting a free Moxie boost. I'm going to drop another Draco. I'm like, you know what? This thing can totally take it. Get low rolled on the Draco, even behind the light screens. I was like, all right, fine, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not going to be mad about it. Goes for the knockoff on the Kyurem, picks up the knockoff on the Kyurem, but Kyurem is, the Scrafty is very, very low now, and we see it as a Moxie AV set Scrafty. Definitely a very good set to run in League format. I'm a huge fan of it. Tailwind petered out, the light screen and the reflect petered out, so I know Cobalion here can pick up the switch, or can pick up the kill. I can go for close combat, I can go for Stone Edge. I'm just going to go for the Volt Switch to keep the momentum and be able to knock out the Scrafty. So now it is Cobalion, and what else do we have left in the back? Tornadus as well. We've got Cobalion and Tornadus left in the back. Tornadus needs to stay around for the Breloom. Cobalion kind of needs to stay around for the Zapdos. So it's a very, very even match right now as far as 50-50s go. The Zapdos is going to come in. He's going to take another 25% rocks. Below 50%, he can knock me out with the Thunderbolt. I'm going to go for Dark Pulse here because I do have a very high chance of flinch. I'm going to bring him down to less than 25%, bringing him in the red. Goes for the Roost. Very safe play. If we would have got a flinch there, that would have been even better, but it is what it is. Pokemon is Pokemon. I'm not going to complain about not getting a secondary effect of a move. Gets the Roost off, goes for the leftovers, and now again, we do have a chance here to keep going for Dark Pulses, get those flinches, being able to stall the Zapdos out. The more damage we can put on this thing, the better. I'm going to keep going for the Dark Pulses because, like I said, if we were to switch into Cobalion, that would not be good. So at this point, I'm like, all right, depending on the right predictions, depending on the right rolls, this is going to be a very, very close battle. He's going to go for the Thunderbolt into the Tornado slot. 2-1, we've got a Cobalion left. Cobalion's at very low health because of the Heat Wave earlier, and now we don't really have a way to manhandle this Breloom. So, like I said in the team builder, Breloom being one of the most difficult mons for me personally to deal with in League format. I'm going to go into the Cobalion here. It resists the close combat. I can fire off the Stone Edge into the Zapdos slot. Absolutely no problem by that. If I miss the Stone Edge, it's fine. It's a 2-0 loss. We are able to get the Stone Edge off on Zapdos, which is fine. He's going to be able to bring in the Breloom here on the Cobalion. Go for the very safe Mach Punch. Even with the Chople Berry, even with a lot of defense, even with everything about this thing, there is no way in any realm, unless he was running no attack and we were running Chople Berry, max HP, max defense, would that have worked. So, Super War Lion goes down to the Mach Punch from the Breloom. We see there he has a Life Orb set. Breloom doing what it needs to do, being able to secure very niche pickups in the match. And that is going to be game. That is going to be a 0-1 or a 1-0 loss to Cooper, Kashiro, and the Utah Jasmine. We are now 1-2 with a +4 differential, I believe. I believe that, yeah, +4. We're now 1-2 with a +4 differential. So, in my opinion, still doing volumes better than we have been doing in past league battles, and past seasons of the GBA as well. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this battle, and if you have, be sure to leave a like on the video. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts and comments about the battle in the comment section down below. I love reading what you guys have to say about that. And yeah, we're still doing, like I said, it was a close battle. I like having big wins and low losses. That's what's going to keep us in contending for not only playoffs, but also for a potential wild card slot. So, like I said, let me know your thoughts down below. Next week, we will be battling Battler X, aka Pokemon Trainer Steve, aka Magnitude, in the Milwaukee Sonsbucks, and that is going to be a matchup for the century. I love every time I get to go battle Steve. Steve's a fantastic guy. So, but like I said, go check out Cooper's channel so you can go check out the side of the battle over there. All that being said, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to remind you to be great and do great. I'm going to let this outro bang, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Later.